Here's a quick view of what an assembled unit should look like. This is the pivot, the newer pivot battery mount that we've switched to. This is the pre-production version of the board. You can see that is the power cable. We know that because it's got 2 red, 2 black. It's a 5-pin, and there's no no wire in the middle. Over here we've got our 3 servo wires connected. The first one is the servo, is the steering servo. The other 2 are the motor control PWM signals. Any zip ties you have, you should remove the leads on it. This is the debugging connector here. So on the CanHub K344, this cable is called DCD-LZ for drone code debug, and it includes both serial wire debug and UART on this connector, and that'll plug into one of our debug adapters to make it easy. There is, however, you might be able to just barely see it way up in there, kind of underneath here. There's a regular JTAG as well. This is the power cable. Again, see there's 2 wires, 2 positive, 2 ground, and the middle one's empty. Both of these power cables go down and into the lower level and plug onto the power distribution board, which is, you can't see, but it's in underneath here. All right, the other side. We've recently changed to this little, I guess we're calling it a LiDAR jack stand. It's a piece of plastic that holds this piece of metal from vibrating or separate. It's only zip tied on, and it slides into the little slot there. That cable goes from here. We tuck the excess into here, into this little slot. And then that plugs into the forwardmost UART connection on the NavQ Plus. That's right next to the IX Industrial. And then this is the serial port connector. It's not the full debug connector that the other one is. On NavQ, it's just a UART that gives you a direct console so you can see everything from the first boot up. Generally, it's easier to leave these dangling and connected rather than unplug them from there. And then you can put the USB to UART cable or the NeuroProbe adapter on here to see the console output. On this side, the GPS plugs in, comes down. Notice that the wire goes in front of the mast. I think it could possibly go in back, but at the moment we're putting it in front. This should be kept loose so that you can gain access if you need to pull it out and get the screws out. These screws really should be the cap head screws, and I'm going to just about change those in a minute. Currently, the current version of the power distribution board requires this this cable with the orange. It's basically just reversed. There was an errata on the first version of the cable. Next version, we're actually adding some power measurement, etc. But for now, if you have the first generation pre-production prototype, it will be this orange cable plugging into that slot. That is your T1 automotive Ethernet connection that goes in here, down this hole. There's a zip tie holding all the wires in place underneath, and then it pops back up over here. Again, put a zip tie on it to hold it in place, and it plugs into the T1 connector here. The other wire you see is these 2 signals are an SPI out only. It's a bit of a, it is SPI, but it's not the full, this drives the LEDs, the LEDs in the front and the rear. So the LEDs that are here, and in the front. And 2 of the wires go to this particular connector, which is SPI out, so it's a clock and a data line. And the other ones go down to the PDB board that's underneath here just to give power and ground. Again, that's on the first generation of the PDB and the first pre-production prototypes of this board. You can see the jack stand. We zip tie that. I think that's it. There are CAN bus wires up here that we just plug in, and they don't go anywhere at the moment, but they could, and they will probably be used for a demo where these two boards talk to each other. But generally, those two boards talk via the T1 Automotive Ethernet. Those CAN connections will then go to other peripherals that plug in, like a CAN connected GPS or a GPS or a CAN connected other peripheral in the near future. So it's a quick tour of the board, of the buggy when it's assembled. And I guess the last thing I'm going to notice is, make sure the wires do get tucked in and they don't get pinched on the side. In the back, a little hard to get to the right spot, but in the back you can see also these LED wires kind of come over to that little gap in the side. In the front, those same, a little bit hard to see, I guess. Those LED wires, again, make sure they're not being pinched. And then this flex cable from the camera is free and slides in that slot. All right, thanks.